people I took on this fight together with, my producer, Margaret Jango. And of course, the best publicist in the United States of America, David Magdal. Our lawyer was here last week, and we miss him a lot. We felt really secure when he was around, but he's kind of hovering here around us now, so we feel good. The film editor, Benjamin Binderup from Denmark. Also, one of our cinematographers, Gabriel Nogues from Los Angeles. Thank you. Cool. Any questions? Yes?
A number of American filmmakers have been subjected to similar intimidation. Recently, Michael Moore on Capitalism, the Gasland film, Chevron's film Crew. Have you thought about starting a support group for other
We're doing it.
We're actually doing it. You're totally right. Joe Berlinger with Crude got hit 9 months after us, and it was actually the same law firm, partly the same lawyers that attacked Joe Berlinger. So we're talking about it together with the people at the Institute for Social Media at the American University in Washington. So we hope something is coming up. But I mean, this is something. It's not so easy. I mean, we lost around $200,000 in this fight, so we don't really have money to help other filmmakers. But I think I would at least look after better when I see colleagues getting attacked. I would at least think one more time before I say they're amateurs, that they're not good enough. Because there's always a spin coming out. You had a question?
Well, two questions. One, did Michael Cotter ever write you after the settlement apologizing?
Did Michael Cotter write to me and apologize? No, of course not. Second question?
And the second question is, when artists or ordinary people's reputations are destroyed out of corporate greed, and the public is never allowed to see the basis, such as your film, but there's other cases where reputation...
You have to be short, because I need to repeat your question. It's really hard for me. I will forget. Sorry. Shoot.
My question is about reputation and the ability of corporations to destroy people, artists and ordinary people who speak up. What do you say to the American public about how this story was ignored by our media?
Why was this story ignored by the U.S. media? I think, there is so many stories ignored by any media in any country. Remember, the most important story ignored by the U.S. media is the story about the banana workers suffering from pesticides that were banned in the U.S. because U.S. factory workers got sterile, and they kept using it in Nicaragua or in many other countries. So why is that story not big enough? So there are many stories that get hidden, and other stories get blown up. So there's always a fight going on. Regarding our case, Dole hired really good people to tell a story that got into the media. It was even so efficient, so it also filtered into the documentary community. A lot of people believed that this kind of Swedish unknown filmmaker had made some stupid mistakes. And so he wasn't trustworthy. And that story worked and tainted my previous film in the U.S. in a very efficient way. And Bananas is now out. It's out. Oscilloscope in New York distributed it finally. It took 2 years. So it's out on Netflix and iTunes. You can go and watch it, and you will see that the lawsuit is totally crazy. There's no basis for it. But if you tell a story well, it will go all the way out, also to your own friends.
Did you ever hear from Mr. Ginsburg?
Mr. Ginsburg, who put us together with the famous Eternal Jew film? No. I wonder how much he got paid. If somebody find out how much he got paid, I would like to know. Maybe you could send me a support check. Yep.
Support check.
Yeah, I can't see, so just shout out.
Thank you for fighting for free speech, an incredible film. My question is, obviously, once this all started happening to you, you were in the middle of it. Did you ever think about trying to get another documentary filmmaker to make this film so that they could, in theory, fact check your claims and that sort of stuff?
No, I mean, we've been in the midst of a kind of a crisis during 2 years. I tried to combine my fight for bananas and my, for that film, also doing this film. So I kind of, when I traveled to film festival, I also brought the camera, or I hired a local crew. I actually have like 26 different cinematographers on this film, shot in many different locations around the world. Hi up.
Does Dole know about this film?
Of course they do.
Have they contacted you at all?
No. But we know for sure that they had people on the world premiere in Amsterdam because they have talked to people who were in the film. So they have seen it, and so I think they've decided not to come after us. It would be really stupid, wouldn't it? I think. Yes?
Has Mr. Dominguez tried to reinstate his lawsuit that the Los Angeles court threw out?
There is now a different lawyer representing the banana workers in my previous film, and so that fight is still ongoing. And Dole is now settling with a different group of banana workers from Nicaragua. Actually, is now starting to pay people. Still not admitting that they did anything wrong, but they start to pay people. Yes, Hyra, you?
Yes, you during the film, people were boycotting buying the bananas. Now that we're all aware of this situation, has Dole changed? Is Dole still using this pesticide? And how is that affecting people in Nicaragua? And also, what can we do now that we're aware of the injustice of people, so we can contribute and do something for everybody as well?
The pesticide that was the story about my previous film was used in the 70s and early 80s. So the lawsuit was about damage that happened years ago. But of course they keep using pesticides, and these planes that you see spraying the fields, they are still out there. And I wouldn't have liked to have my kids under that cloud. And probably that pesticide will also be banned in a few years. And then what? So I think you should question the kind of the practice they have, and you should enter into your local shop and ask, how are these bananas produced? And if you ask me what you should do, you should buy only the combination of fair trade and organic bananas. The rest you should leave in the shelves, I think. Yes?
I feel lucky to be allergic to bananas. Is Max still boycotting or not carrying the Dole? And what about the supermarkets? Did they ever instigate not carrying them as well?
As I said in the film, the bananas is the most sold item in a supermarket in the US and in Sweden. It's like 1% of everything sold in the supermarket are bananas. We don't know it. We don't notice it. It is extremely large amounts of bananas going through supermarkets. So it's extremely rentable. So to change that is something people don't want to do. There's so much money in it. So they keep selling bananas. Of course, in Sweden it's been a little bit more complicated because this story has been really big, and the sale of fair trade bananas has more than doubled since the debate on our film, and it keeps growing a lot. And Max is not selling their fruit salad, but I think Max is not. They probably sell other kind of salads from Dole, but you can't see the label on the leaf, so it's. I mean, yeah.
How would we support you? Do you accept donations on your website? Do you accept cash, checks, money orders?
I mean, to be honest, I love that question. How do you support us? We actually have a Kickstarter campaign ongoing right now to finance the US launch. We said we asked for $15,000. Actually, we need much more, but we were afraid that we couldn't get that. But if you go to Kickstarter and look for Big Boys Gone Bananas, that's a good way. Another way of supporting us, of course, is tweeting about. If you like the film, tweet a lot about it. Also, I think if you also go to the site, you can also register yourself, so we can know where you are. So we can, when we get the screening close where you live, you can also be an ambassador for the film. we need all this because we lost too much money, and we've been working kind of 24/7 for all these years. This film was really hard to finance, much harder than the previous film, because a lot of people are kind of a little bit afraid of touching us again. So it's been a tough journey, but we're really happy and proud now. So we have had 5 amazing screenings here. So anyway, but thank you for the question. Any more? Yeah.
One thing, I thank you for pointing out how our media is not our friend. And the other, but what scared me, and I never really thought about, is these huge consultants, PR consultants that can poison the internet in such a way with phony controversy. How dangerous do you think that is, since more people are on the internet than probably are reading these newspapers?
Yeah, but you know, I mean, big corporations are afraid of journalists. They're afraid of filmmakers. And as journalism, I mean, the newspapers and the broadcasters are now firing a lot of good journalists. Many of them are now moving over to the PR industry. Others are moving out in the blogosphere. And so they also know that the playground, the battleground is now out on the internet. So of course they put a lot of people out there to be active. And that's, so this kind of, this word astroturfing, I never heard about it before. It was actually a company who works for several Swedish newspapers who checked the commentary tracks to kick out things that could be racist or whatever. They contacted the biggest newspaper in Sweden and told them there was some activity going on after every Bananas article, that it seemed these people know too much. They're not ordinary Swedish people. They knew too much. And that's how you also recognize these kind of activities. When people are, they tend to repeat the same kind of talking points. So you can see when there is a campaign going on. And it was really interesting because the local newspaper here in Park City did an interview with me the first day of the festival. And on their commentary track, there's already somebody out who knows a little bit too much, and they don't give out their own names, you know. It's always some kind of secret signature. Really
Time for
interesting.
one more.
Oh, come on. Yes.
Sorry.
Thank you for your film and for your tenacity. On behalf of all of us filmmakers, I really appreciate it. But I remember, I live in LA, and when this was going on, I have a question for you, because I don't ever remember you saying the workers didn't lie. And as a public who was getting fed all this stuff from Dole, I kind of wanted to hear you say that. Can you explain your strategy? Or, I mean, did the workers lie or not? I'm still not clear.
Why do you think the workers lied?
Well, I think that when sometimes people see a means to an end is justified on the left and the right. I support their cause. I don't buy Dole products, but I kind of want to know, did our side fudge the truth? I do want to know that, and I do feel like there's a filmmaker's responsibility to address that if that was the case.
You know, but if there are like 20,000 workers in the country, or they're claiming that they got hit by a pesticide, well, probably, I mean, I know after the Katrina hurricane in New Orleans, there was also a lot of any class action, there is of course people jumping on the train because there's something to make out of it. But was that in the interest of any lawyer to bringing in fake plaintiffs to Los Angeles? Would be really stupid. But I mean, you should watch Bananas, and then you'll see the film that is not really about that, you know, because in that film you will be the jury yourself, so you can yourself decide what you think or not. It's an open film in that sense. Yes.
Did any of Dole see the film, any amount of the film before it was actually screened?
This film?
No, the first Bananas film. Did anybody from Dole see any, even 2 minutes of the film?
No.
So everything their lawsuit was just based on whatever they
Of course, they based all the major attack in the media spin was based on a 3 minutes trailer.
Right.
And they saw the film first at this premiere in Los Angeles.
So it's just based on the trailer.
Yes.
Sorry. Thank you very much.
Thank you.